everybody. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time to our quarantine yoga YouTube edition. I have lost count which week this is, but it doesn't matter. Here we are. And I'm going to just dive right in today. No need for any further introductions. We're going to start today on our backs. So you can get yourself nice and comfortable. If you want to start in the Shavasana type shape with the legs long, arms long, you can do so. If you prefer having the knees bent, I would recommend stepping the feet as wide as the mat and letting the knees fall in to touch each other. Then wherever you've landed, just let your arms rest comfortably, somewhat out away from the body. So there's a little bit of negative space being created between the torso and the underarm. And as we arrive in the practice, taking these first few moments, as always, to settle in. I've said it before, but I really like to think of this first minute or two as a conscious transition away from whatever you were just doing, whether it was sleeping or working or anything else, and into this time, really a practice, where you're practicing whatever it is that you're working on in your own body. Practicing breathing consciously, breathing deeply, practicing letting go of certain thoughts, worries, plans, etc. If you find it helpful to have a clear intention for the practice, this is a good time to choose that intention and just let it flash into your mind or your consciousness throughout the practice. You don't have to force it. If it never comes up again, that's fine. But know that it's there, that it's something you've chosen, and that you can lean on it if and when you need. So we're deepening the breath without forcing any breath or trying to achieve any particular breath. Because of this horizontal position and the way that gravity is working to bring the body down to the mat, see if you can really think about the breath moving vertically. So the belly puffs up toward the sky, vertical in space, not in relation to your body. So you really puff the belly up and let it sink down. And puff the belly up and let it sink down with the exhale. So it might feel a little exaggerated, but we're really pumping fresh air into the body, letting stale air leave the body. Another few breaths like this. And wherever you are, let the legs come out really long and flex the feet. Bring the feet together, so like you're zipping up the whole midline of the body. Big toes are touching, knees are touching. With flexed feet, we're going to start to shift from the ankle joint, pointing and flexing the feet, hopefully causing this whole movement to ricochet through the body. So you can take a quick peek at the video if you're unsure, but the whole body can be rocking from heels to head. Just a moment to kind of shake out any tension and make sure that you're really finding this through line, this pipeline through your body, and letting that come to stillness. Keeping the feet flexed, really flexed. We're going to hug the right knee into the chest. Let both shoulders melt into the ground. Deep breath in. Full breath out. You have the option to stay here, starting to find little circles with the knee. Activating the femur bone, the big thigh bone, in the hip socket. And then circle in the other direction. We find mobility in the hip. Meanwhile, the left hip flexor is opening. Eventually, coming to stillness, start to press that right heel up toward the sky, clasping the hands behind the right leg. See if you can still keep two shoulders on the ground. It might mean you have to lower where your grip on your leg is. Deep breath in. Keep those feet really flexed. And exhale, once again, bend the knee. Taking the knee in the right hand, bring your left hand to your left hip bone. So for some of us, that bone sticks out more than others, but really try to locate where the bone is, the ilium, and then start to float the right knee open. The left hand is there to stabilize you, to keep you from rolling toward the right. So really press down through the left hand as the right knee falls open. Coming back through center, switch hands, take the right knee in the left hand, and bring the knee all the way across the body as the right arm opens out to the side. A full twist, maybe you're looking out over your right fingertips. We're going to start to circle that right arm overhead. Bad planning here on my part, my back is going to be to you, but hopefully I can cue you clearly. So you're laying on your left side, stretch out that right leg so two legs are straight, and come to sit up on that left elbow. So you're propping yourself on your left elbow. Feet are both flexed. Again, zip up the midline of the body. You can stay here, feeling a stretch on the left rib cage, or already start to lift the hips away from the floor. So we're in a side plank on the elbow. Right hand can come to the hip. Deep breath in. Full breath out. One more breath. Inhaling. Bring the right hand back down for support. Lower the pelvis. Extend the left arm long, laying on your left side and rolling back onto your back. Flexing both feet. Hug the left knee into the chest. The first breath cycle is just letting that left knee get super heavy. Let the hip flexor soften. And then if you want a little more activity, drawing circles in one direction and eventually in the other direction. Keeping those 2 feet flexed, start to press the left heel up toward the sky, changing your clasp behind the left leg, 2 shoulders stay heavily melting downward, and you're breathing, of course. And then gently bend the left knee, take the left knee in the left hand, find your right hip point, and really press down as you float the left knee open. So you can imagine the 2 halves of your pelvis opening like a book away from each other, widening the space around the pubic bone, freeing the hips. Coming back through center, switch hands, draw the left knee across the body, find that reclined twist, maybe you add your gaze over your left hand. Deep breath in, think of that belly active as you breathe. Circle the left arm all the way overhead, keep circling, now you're laying on your right side. Stack your left foot on top of your right, come up onto that right elbow, perching high. So you try not to sink down into the shoulder, really press into the forearm, lifting right rib cage. You can stay here, already activating the oblique muscles. If you want to come a little further, lift the hips and bring the left hand to the hip. Deep breath in, full breath out. One more breath cycle wherever you are. Let the pelvis lower to the floor. Extend the left arm all the way out, rolling onto your back, and both feet are flexed. Draw the right knee in toward the chest. This time we're going to let the shoulders and the head leave the floor. Hug your chin in toward your chest. Start to press your right knee away from you. This rolls you all the way up along the spine, all the way up to sit. Hug both knees in, a little balance. Extend the right leg, holding the left knee. Curve the spine, and with control, rolling all the way down. We'll take this again. Keep the left knee in the hands. Press your heel away from you, chin to the chest, rolling along the spine, all the way up to sit, a little ab engagement, and switching legs, control, whoops, and roll down. We'll take each leg once more. Engage the core, chin to chest, pressing, floating through 2 sits bones, and reverse. Keep those feet flexed once more. This time as you arrive seated, stay seated. You can find your variation of Navasana, boat pose. Either holding onto 2 knees on top or underneath. Toes can stay on the mat, or you can lift lower legs. Feel free to take any variation here that you like. You can extend the arms, extend the legs, and keep breathing deeply. Inhaling and exhaling. One more breath, in and out through the nose. As you exhale, we're going to cross the ankles, sitting up high on the sits bones, arms overhead. Exhale, taking a big bow forward. Hands find the mat in front of you. Let your shoulders and your head hang forward. Inhale through the nose, out through the nose. 2 more breaths. Now instead of thinking of the belly puffing up toward the sky, think about your back body puffing up toward the sky. And exhale, melting down toward the floor. Next, exhale, finding your way onto hands and knees. However you manage to get there. Doesn't have to be graceful. I can't see you. Finding a nice wide stance, knees open, hip distance apart. Shoulders are just over the wrist joints. And we'll take a few rounds of cat and cow. Take your own timing. This is really just to lubricate the spine. So not thinking of any end position, but kind of a constant flow of this serpent-like movement through the spine. Connecting to your own breath. So notice how your breath can help you navigate the actions. Coming back to a neutral spine, pressing the floor away from you, send the right leg back behind you. Lift it until it's parallel to the floor. We're going to bring the left hand to the low abdominal. So you feel your abdominals engage under the hand, and then add the left arm forward. Deep breath in here. As you exhale, slide the arm and leg away from each other, out toward the sides. Inhale, coming through center. Twice more. As you exhale, floating open, imagine your leg and arm are sliding across a table. So they don't dip down, they don't lift up. Once more. This time, leave the right leg out where it is. Bring the foot to the floor. Floating left fingers to the sky. Inhale. Exhale. Thread the left arm beneath the right. Shoulder comes down to the mat. We're in a twist here. You can stay with the right hand down or float it up to the sky. Belly and back are active as you breathe. Exhale, right hand finds the floor. We're going to come up onto the left elbow. The fingers are pointing toward the side of the mat. And you can swing that right leg back behind you. So we're either in sort of a half supported half moon, or you can already extend that left leg out in front of you for a variation of your side plank on the elbow. Deep breath in, full breath out. One more breath in. Exhale, bring the right elbow down to the floor, and you step into a plank pose. Send the fingers forward. So now the forearms are parallel to each other, knees lower, pubic bone lowers, heart reaches forward in the Sphinx pose. Behind you, your kneecaps are lifting actively away from the floor. Full breath in. Exhale, make a little pillow for your forehead. Heels fall open and rock the hips side to side. Next, inhale, bring the forehead down to the mat. Bring your hands back alongside the body, palms of the hands pressing down. So you really press down into the floor with the hands and the tops of the feet. Slide the shoulder blades together, just the heart lifts away from the mat. A half Shalabhasana, locust pose. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower one cheek to the floor and let the hands and legs relax, maybe even rock the hips again. We'll take one more back bend here. Press the palms down once again. This time we'll press into the pubic bone. Lift the heart and lift the legs if it's available to you. Try to bring the legs together, really zipping up that midline of the body. Exhale, other cheek comes down to the floor. Let the hips rock. Hands under the shoulders. Press the hips all the way back to the heels. Balasana, child's pose. Deep breaths in and out. And when you're ready, rolling yourself forward onto hands and knees. Extend the left leg back behind you, floating it away from the floor so that you're careful not to sink into this arched back. Bring your right hand to the low abdominals and really press that hand up. Feel the abdominals engage. Reach the right arm forward. 3 times this airplane action. Exhale, sliding arm and leg open. Inhale, reaching in opposition. Twice more. Breathing. Last time. Exhale, bring that left foot to the floor. Peel the right rib cage open, eyes to the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. Right arm under left. So hopefully you find a nice stretch in your hamstring here, as well as a gentle twist. Feel free to add that left arm. Next, exhale, left hand finds the floor. Press down, prop yourself onto that right elbow. And you can step the left foot back behind you. Coming to a version of this half plank pose, or plant into that left foot. Step your right foot out in front of you. Deep breath in. Engaging the oblique muscles along the sides of the torso. Exhale, look down, left elbow comes down. Step into your plank. Once again, fan the fingers forward so the forearms are parallel. We're in a plank pose on the elbows. Deep breath in. Full breath out, knees lower, keep the toes tucked. Send the tailbone up to the sky, puppy dog pose, either the chin or the forehead to the mat. And walking your hands back, slightly keep the toes tucked. Send the hips up and back for our first downward facing dog. Take it nice and easy, shake out whatever needs to be shaken out. And finding stillness, toes are spreading, fingers are spreading. Big breath in, floats the right leg up to the sky. Feel the strength in your arms as you press them away from the mat. Right leg lowers. Inhale, left leg lifts. And lowers. Inhale, both heels lift. Knees soften, look forward, and take your feet for a walk to reach the hands. As you arrive in your forward fold, let the head hang, let the knees softly bend. And just let all of that energy pour out of the head. You might already start to feel a little bit of heat building up. Now is a chance to let some of that release and begin a slow roll up through the spine. Arriving at the top of your mat in Tadasana, mountain pose. We'll take 3 classic sun salutations, the first a bit slower, and then we'll start to move a little quicker. So we can move together, or you can move, excuse me, at your own pace. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, hands find the heart. Deep breath in, arms float high overhead. Exhale, bent or straight legs, diving forward. Fingertips may or may not find the floor here. Inhale to a long flat back, fingertips to the floor, or hands to the shin bones. Exhale, release, taking a step 1 foot at a time back to your plank pose. Full breath in. With your exhale, very softly, lower your knees to the mat. Go ahead and bend the elbows, lower all the way onto the belly, toes point. Heart flows forward, Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Exhale to release, toes tuck, hips lift up and back, downward facing dog. We'll stay here 3 breaths. Feeling that strength in your arms radiating from the ground, beneath your palms, all the way up into your shoulder blades, up through your back, out through the tailbone. Exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or float your feet to reach your hands. Arriving in a complete forward fold, Uttanasana, let the weight of your head go. Soft knees. Inhale all the way to stand, arms overhead. Exhale, seal this first sun salutation with the hands at the heart. Beginning next round, inhale, arms lift. Exhale, diving forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step or float your feet back to a gentle plank pose. Exhale, lower either your knees and chest or the whole body in one piece. Scooping heart forward, Bhujangasana, cobra. Exhale, release, toes tuck, hips float up, head hangs. 3 breaths in down dog. Third exhale, knees bend, look forward, step or float your feet to your hands. Uttanasana, heavy head, knees soften, arms high, hands meet, and draw in to the heart center. Last round here, inhaling. Exhaling, breath is flowing freely. Notice if your breath starts to get a little bit stuck, and see if through the movement of your body, you can free the breath. Your choice, Chaturanga Dandasana, or knees, chest. We meet in down dog for 1 breath. In through the nose. Exhale, knees bend, look forward, step or hop the feet. Coming all the way to stand, arms are high. Hands meet in front of the heart. Bringing your weight over the left foot, free that right foot, Gonna hug the right heel in toward the sits bone, floating the left arm overhead. So we have a quadricep stretch, as well as a bit of a hip flexor opening. If you see that your knee is bringing itself forward, see if you can bring the knees to touch, knee to knee. Zip up that midline of the body. As you exhale, float the right knee in toward the chest. Use the help of both hands. Bringing the hip flexor in the other direction. Once more. Heel toward the sits bone, find your foot. And knee to chest. Bending the standing leg, take a big step back. Coming to a high crescent lunge, arms are overhead. Find the weight of your pelvis, the stability of your 2 feet. Exhale, elbows bend to 2 cactus shapes, right angles. Bend that back knee. Press down to rise up, inhale. Twice more, exhale to lower, like you're moving through a thick substance, moving with resistance, arms high. Once more. Arms high. As you exhale, hands come to the heart. Soften the back knee. We're going to spring forward to Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. If you have a wall in front of you, you can cheat like me. Bending that standing leg slightly, hug the right knee in toward the chest, finding your balance. Cross right ankle over left thigh. We come to a figure 4, knee falls open. Hands in front of the heart. Deep breath in. Send the hips back slightly, really creasing in the hips. And hug that knee into the chest. Come to stand, Tadasana. Fingertips reaching down. Breath in and out. Arms high on the next breath in. Exhale, diving forward. Stepping back to downward facing dog, plank pose. I'm ahead of myself. And moving through your vinyasa variation. Of course, you can come to down dog, skipping the vinyasa at any point. With an inhale, float the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, stepping forward, low lunge. Back heel finds the floor, Virabhadrasana 1. Arms are high overhead. The little toe of your left foot, your back foot, is pressing into the floor. So it encourages a sort of external rotation of that back leg. Nice deep opening in the left quadricep, the left hip flexor. As you exhale, keeping the legs exactly as they are, we're going to float the heart forward. Low lunge, arms reach back. Hands find the mat. Back heel lifts, back knee softens to the floor. Pointing back toes, step your hands onto your front leg. Once again, left hip flexor, softening, melting, open. You can leave your hands on the leg or opt to float the arms overhead. Maybe you start to gently lift the gaze. Exhale, hands find the floor, back toes tuck. Rolling onto the outer edge of your left foot, we'll come to Vashisthasana, side plank. Stacking right foot on top of left, right hand to the hip or right arm to the sky. 2 more breaths. Hugging that midline of the body, all the way from the heels up, through the center, out through the crown of the head. Exhale, look down. Plank pose, moving either through a vinyasa variation or directly to downward dog. Exhale, knees bend, look forward, step or hop the feet to reach your hands. Deep bend in the knees, swing the arms back behind you, scooping arms high, Utkatasana, chair pose. Knees are deeply bending. Shifting your weight into your heels so much that you could wiggle your toes away from the floor. You can give it a try. And exhale, hands to the heart, coming to stand. Fingertips reaching down in Tadasana. Take a breath or 2 here, centering yourself over 2 feet. Pouring your weight into the right foot, kick your left heel to your left sits bone. And again, try to bring knee to knee. So you engage the hip flexor and quadricep muscle a little more. Right arm overhead. Exhale, bend that left knee in front of you. Hug it into the chest. So we find the flexion and extension of the hip. Once again, Kick the heel to the sits bone, arm high, knee to knee, and knee into the nose or into the chest. Bending that standing leg. You're gonna step into that unknown behind you. Trust your back foot to find the floor, arms overhead. High crescent lunge, drop the weight of your pelvis. As you exhale, arms open to two cactus shapes, bend the back knee. 3 times, inhale to extend. Use your own breath pattern, your own breath cycle to guide your movement. Hands find the heart, springing forward into that Virabhadrasana 3. If it takes a few tries to get there, no worries. Take your time. A gentle bend in the standing leg, hugs the left knee into the chest, standing tall. Cross left ankle over the right leg, let the knee open. And we come to sit, perch, in this figure 4 position. Let the hips sink back like you're in your chair pose. Coming to stand, hug the knee parallel, fingertips reaching down. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, diving forward. Stepping back to plank pose. Moving either through your vinyasa or directly to down dog. Deep breath in, left leg floats to the sky. Exhale, step it forward. Low lunge, back heel lowers, preparing Virabhadrasana 1. Arms high for warrior 1 pose. Now it's the little toe of the right foot that's really spiraling to find contact with the mat. Exhale, diving the heart forward, fingertips reach back behind you. Feel that weight, that energy that the back foot has. All of that power the back leg has. Hands to the ground, back heel lift into your low lunge. Softly lowering back knee to the floor, toes point, stepping your hands onto that front leg. And everyone, as if I can see you all. Wherever you are, bring your pelvis forward so that you really further extend this right hip flexor. Option to stay or to float the arms high. If it feels right, you can start to gently lift the gaze. Exhale, hands find the floor, back toes tucked, coming onto the little toe side of your foot. So you internally rotate that back leg, stack left foot on top of right, and you come to your Vashisthasana. You can always use that left foot for support if you need. Bend it and step it onto the floor. Finding full breaths, zipping up the inner thighs. Exhale, look down, hands come down, either moving through your vinyasa or coming to down dog. And as you're ready, knees bend, looking forward, step or hop your feet to your hands. We're coming up through your Utkatasana again, chair pose, knees bend, arms lift high. Sitting nice and deep. This time, instead of coming to stand, bringing the hands all the way down to the floor. We're going to prepare for Bakasana, crow pose. So some of you already have this in your practice, some of you may not know what it is. So I'll talk you through the stages. If you already know, you can go ahead and start practicing. So the hands are firmly planted on the mat. I'm going to lift the heels and bend the knees. Ideally, as we bend our elbows here, they bend back toward the body. So you make a little shelf, a 90-degree shelf for yourself. Your upper arm becomes said shelf. So the elbows bend, the knees come as high up into the armpits as you can. Important tip, look out in front of yourself, maybe even off your mat. If you look down, you'll fall down, almost guaranteed. So you can stay here with 2 feet on the floor, or maybe you play with lifting one foot and the other foot, maybe eventually lifting both feet. So again, this is a practice, especially in this case where you're alone in the comfort of your own home. Go for it. If you've never tried it and you're unsure, make sure you have some padding nearby so you don't, face plant gracefully. And when you're ready, when you feel that you've had enough of this crow, let it go and find yourself in a forward fold. Soft bend in the knees to begin a roll all the way up to stand, arms high. Exhale, hands to the heart. Deep breath in, arms are overhead. Exhale, diving forward. Inhale, long, flat back. Exhale, release, stepping or moving however you like through your vinyasa or just to down dog directly. Deep breath in, the right leg floats to the sky. As you exhale, knee comes forward toward the nose, shoulders over wrists. Inhale, right leg lift up and back. Exhale, right knee toward the right elbow. Inhaling up and back. Exhale, right knee toward the left elbow. Option to stay here or bring the back heel down. Right leg finds the floor, right foot rather. Left arm lifts. Lifts. I added some extra F's to the word lifts. Exhaling, look down. Left hand comes down. Right leg lifts to the sky, one leg down dog. Exhale, step it forward, low lunge. Back heel finds the floor, arms cartwheel high to your warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2. Looking out over your right fingertips. Deep breath in. Complete breath out. Inhale, right palm flips to the sky. Reverse the warrior. Coming through warrior 2. Tipping forward, extended side angle. Coming through warrior 2. Flip the palm high, reverse the warrior. This time stay here. Press down to straighten that right leg. So in this reverse warrior, we have 2 straight legs. Inhaling up to stand. Spiral the right toes to face the side wall. Spin the heels in. Arms come high. As you exhale, hands come to the heart center. As your knees bend, pelvis lowers. Deep breath in. And a full breath out. Press into the feet to straighten the legs. We're going to swivel the feet. Heel toe, heel toe. A little break dance. And all the way to stand. Feet together. Hug the right knee into the chest. We're going to find this figure 4 that we found earlier. Cross the right ankle over the left leg. Bend the knee. So you have this little diamond or triangle of negative space. You can either take the hands to the heart or thread your right hand through that little diamond. Clasp your hands under your left thigh so you have a good grip here. And then let your right elbow press your right knee open. Keep breathing. And coming up to stand, parallel the knee, stepping on 2 feet. Inhale, arms overhead. As you take the hands to the heart, you're going to twist to the right. So you're looking out over the right side of your mat. And let the knees bend, coming all the way down to the floor. So if you had your crow pose relatively comfortably, or if you're feeling adventurous, we're going to practice a side crow. If you'd like to take a side plank or some variation thereof instead, still working the oblique muscles and engaging the upper arm muscles. If you're taking your side crow, hands come down parallel to each other, so exact same sort of logistics. The elbows will bend back toward the body, make that little shelf. Let your right leg rest on the 2 elbows, looking out in front of you, and maybe the feet leave the floor. And play around for a moment or 2. Otherwise, you can find yourself in your side plank. And as you're ready, coming out of your side crow, squaring off to a downward facing dog. With a big breath in, the left leg floats up to the sky. Left knee floats in toward the nose. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left knee to left elbow or armpit. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left knee to right elbow or armpit. Finding a variation of side plank. Deep breaths in and out. When you're ready, exhale to look down. Right hand comes down, left leg floats high. Press into your hands, feel that strength. Left foot steps forward. Back heel spirals down. We're in our warrior two on the second side. Looking over your left fingertips. Finding a focal point. Resting your gaze around that point. Left palm flips to the sky. Exhale to reverse the warrior. Keep the bend in your left knee. In fact, you might even bend it deeper. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, tipping forward. Extended side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, reverse. Staying in this reverse. Press down to straighten the left leg. Inhale, coming up to stand. Spiral the left toes. We'll take a forward fold this time. Leaving the arms long to the side as long as you can. And when they meet, they can find the floor. Encourage a little bend in the knees if you'd like. Maybe a little bit of side to side action, swaying, releasing. Surrender a bit to whatever feels good here. And coming back to stillness. Legs start to straighten. We come up over a flat back. Arms to a T again as soon as you can. Head is reaching out, out, out away from you to bring you up to stand. And then swivel the feet heel toe in toward one another. Hugging the left knee into the chest. Finding that figure four. Either with hands to the heart or threading the arm through that negative space, and then actively use this elbow like a lever, excuse me, to press the left knee open. Coming back to stand, parallel the legs and 2 feet down. Arms are high. Exhale to twist to the left side. Then with control, lowering all the way to the floor. If you took the side crow on your first side, give it a go on the second side. It may feel very different. Who knows, maybe even easier on this side. If you're practicing a side plank, finding that, keeping the arms really engaged in the back, and most importantly, make sure you're still breathing wherever you are. Take your time to explore. And when you're ready, finding yourself back in a downward facing dog. If you want to move through one last vinyasa, feel free to do so. Gradually lowering the knees as wide as the mat. Feet come together. Sending the hips back to the heels for your child's pose. Resting your forehead on the mat. Taking several deep breaths here. Quite a lot of heat, most likely, has built up in the body. So it's an opportunity to let that sort of disperse and settle and maybe reach areas of the body that you tend to neglect or overlook. Feel free to stay a bit longer if you feel a little bit kaput. Otherwise, we come into one last sort of upper body exercise. We'll come forward onto the elbows, keeping the forearms parallel. Coming to a forearm plank, engaging belly to spine. So feel free to stay here. If you'd like to come a little further, we'll move toward a dolphin pose. Walking the feet a little closer to the nose as the hips lift up to the sky. So it's just like a downward dog with the elbows on the mat. Staying for as many breaths as you need or like in either your forearm plank or your dolphin pose. And then as you're ready, the knees lower to the mat, toes point, coming up gradually to sit on the knees. Let the hands rest on the thighs. Just take a moment to really let the shoulders, the upper arms start to melt with gravity down toward the floor. So if you feel any sense of resistance or holding in a particular shape or position, see if you can allow yourself to let that go here, including the abdominals. Let them be loose. Deep breath in, lifting the hips. Come to stand on the knees. You might want to step the knees a little bit wider apart. If you have sensitive knees, you can either fold over the mat once or even twice, or you can place a blanket or a little bit of cushioning underneath the knees. As we move to Ustrasana, camel pose, fingers pointing down, hands on the sacrum. This might be enough for you. This is a good place to let the shoulder blades move together, the heart open, and then gradually, very gradually, letting the head fall back. The idea here being that you rest your pelvis, your pubic bone, on an imaginary wall in front of you, even as you continue to arch back. So you'll never leave that wall. You'll never hinge away from the wall. The further you arch, the further you're pressing your wide front of your pelvis forward. When you're ready, coming back to a tall spine. If you folded the mat, you can let it unfold. Coming to sit first on the heels, and then sit the sits bones down to one side. Swing the legs out in front of you. Sitting up nice and tall in Dandasana, your staff pose. And just like last week, if you joined last week, we're going to take our forward fold in a very lazy fashion. So really like a rag doll. Walk yourself forward. Stop when you need to stop. You can continue if and when you feel ready to continue. So the legs are quite long and active, but everything from the waist up is really surrendering. It doesn't have to look pretty or even feel particularly pretty, but start to really feel weight. And in doing this, you probably also start to realize the areas where you don't feel weight or depth or even much sensation. See if you can shift your awareness to those areas. So we all have the areas that we know we need to work on, the areas that we know we feel comfortable in. This is an opportunity to trace and explore in your own physical sensation where you might tend to overlook. Could be something really subtle. It could be physical, it could be more emotional. If you locate it, that might already be enough. Just bringing attention, acknowledgement to a certain area, and then sending your breath to that area. When you're ready, walking the hands back, all the way to a tall seat. Scoot your hips forward and a roll back onto the back. Take your time to find a completely reclined position. Knees stay bent. Walking the heels closer in toward the sits bones. Keep the feet parallel. We're just going to let the knees fall both to the left, then to the right, like windshield wipers moving in tandem. And as the knees fall to the left, we're going to let them stay there. If you'd like, you can widen the arms a bit more for a very gentle reclined twist. We did a lot of work around the hips as well as the upper body, working with strength and balance today. So in this position of the upper body, the arms really wide and soft. Think about the skeletal structure and less about the muscular structure. So your bones are holding you in this shape, but your muscles have done all the work that they need to do for today. Floating the knees back through center, and let the knees fall to the right side. And the same here as the knees arrive. See if you can somehow, symbolically or actually in your own body, separate these two networks. The bones from the muscle, ligament, tendon, So the bones are there, they're keeping your shape, and everything else can act as if it's melting or even falling asleep into a deep sleep around your bones. Bringing the knees back through center, hugging the knees into the chest, and taking little rocks or rolls or circles, whatever feels good for you. If you feel that you'd like an active back bend, an inversion, or anything else to seal this practice, take time now. You can pause the video and take as much time as you need for yourself. I will guide you now through or to a Shavasana, lengthening the legs out long, palms of the hands flipping up to the sky. Let the toes fall open. So keeping the same concept, this idea that your skeleton is there, it's holding you, it has weight, connection, grounding into the floor, and that no effort whatsoever is required to hold you in place. So that effort can be physical, muscular. It can also be more emotional or theoretical. It could be the mind reactivating as you know you're nearing the end of the practice. See if you can give yourself permission to give yourself these last few minutes. These few minutes without having to plan, without having to remember. And taking several deep breaths as you let yourself sink deeper and deeper into this state. Here is where I will leave you. Please stay here as long as you can, or as long as you'd like. I thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you next time.